Welcome to the Journey to Happy podcast, a podcast dedicated to women who do too much, who think too much, who worry too much, who prioritize everyone too much, who neglects herself too much. This is a place for you to hang out. We get you. I know exactly who you are. That used to be me. There is another way of going about life, and that is what I've dedicated this podcast to, teaching you a way in which you can be incredibly caring and compassionate and helpful, but without sacrificing your own well-being. My name is Olga Lacroix. I am a former therapist, a life coach, a coffee lover, a wife, blissfully a mother, and I am your host. I'm excited that you found this podcast, and I cannot wait to see you inside. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Journey to Happy podcast. I'm Olga, your host, and as always, I am so excited that we're meeting through this venue. All right, today's episode is one that will make you think and reflect on your own behaviors and how you view taking care of yourself. I am going to start by telling you what used to be like to be me when, one, I didn't prioritize myself, and two, didn't think it was possible to be both incredibly caring and prioritizing myself. To me, one canceled the other. For the majority of my life, I thought, okay, my job is to help others, therefore you come last, literally. I have done that, or I've played that dynamic in all of my relationships with work, with like boyfriends, husband, with my parents, with my siblings, with my friends. In like no matter where I went, there I was prioritizing everyone, even complete strangers, and putting myself last. So the subject of this podcast specifically is about boundaries, setting up clear boundaries, and getting to the core of why we have a hard time setting those healthy boundaries. Now, this is a subject I've spoken about before, but I'm coming to you from the lenses of self-care and prioritizing yourself, because I do think that the lack of boundaries is one of the main issues why we can't prioritize ourselves, that we have weak boundaries. Just the other day in a coaching session, somebody asked me, how could she stop taking things personally? And I said to her, it had to do with boundaries. And she was so confused. I'm like, okay, I'm going to dive into this, not only in this coaching session where I help one person, but I wanted to bring it to the podcast so that we can all sort of like go down this path together and look at this way of thinking as a group. That's right. I feel like we're all together in this, even though I can't see you. Full disclosure, I'm still learning, okay? I am definitely a recovered perfectionist, a recovered overthinker, a recovered overgiver. And so I am still learning about this balance of having boundaries that allow me to prioritize myself. And I would say that the biggest obstacle I encountered before to getting to this point where I am now, where I do feel that I have a much better handle, is the fact that I didn't believe there was a scenario where I could be incredibly caring for others while prioritizing myself. In my mind, one canceled the other. Either I was of service and helping everybody, or I would prioritize myself. And if I was choosing that versus being caring with others, that made me selfish. And my mom always told me to never be selfish. So that there was an internal conflict with me. And all I needed to do, honestly, was to come back to having a step back and looking at that belief I was holding for so long, noticing that it wasn't serving me and it was limiting, incredibly limiting, and just thinking of what would be another way in which I could look at this. Sadly for me, it took a lot of painful life moments before I finally realized that there was another way and that I could in fact be incredibly caring and a helper in my profession while still prioritizing myself. So I would love to collapse time for you. I would love for you to not go through all the painful moments that I did experience in my life, for you to then begin to notice, like, all right, it is possible to prioritize me while being incredibly loving and not take things personally, and free myself from guilt of not of being, like, quote unquote selfish, what we used to think was selfish. So I'm going to start on the reverse of this. I want to begin by telling you the things that happened to me prior to really truly understanding the importance of prioritizing myself. First, I'm going to tell you that I walk around feeling like I was such a needy human. Why? Because I always wanted more from people, a lot more. Whatever my boyfriend gave me was not enough. I wanted to do all things together. And if we didn't, I felt unloved. I I felt I could see it in people's faces sometimes, that they felt I was too much. Like, I wanted to see them too much. Like with my friends in university, I could clearly remember always wanting to do plans and then being like, oh, maybe not this week, maybe next week. I felt like I was always the instigator of doing things, of seeing people. Obviously, I felt I was doing so much for everyone, and that there was not this, like, return for me. Like, nobody would have the same amount of care, the same amount of touching base. If I didn't text my friends, they wouldn't really text me. If I didn't, like, I just felt, I felt like I was in love and appreciated enough by everyone. There wasn't a single person that I could say, okay, this person loves me enough. I kind of have enough of them. I somehow managed to feel anywhere I went that I was not enough, not appreciated enough. I constantly felt like I was resenting people because they would only call me to ask me for favors. And I would like be daydreaming of the day that people stop asking me for things, and instead they'll just be offering to do things for me. All of that was my reality. Okay. Also, my reality was increased anxiety. I was constantly preoccupied in my head for a reason or two, mostly overthinking things, mostly overthinking the past, overthinking how I had said things, if I said too much, if I didn't say enough, where my boyfriend was, what was he doing, why was he there, like, just driving myself insane, to be honest. I was taking things so personally. So if anybody said anything, I would take it personally. If they said it to me, I would take it personally. But if also I happened to hear a story about somebody else and this happened to them, I would just walk the rest of my day so sad for that person. Like, not only did I literally took things that were said to me personally, I also took on things that didn't belong to me. Hello, I am an Enneagram type 2. I am an empath, overly sensitive human. Maybe you're listening to me like, oh my God, that's me. Whether that was a movie or a book or somebody I didn't even know story, I wouldn't just put myself in their shoes. I would just borrow those shoes and walk the rest of my day with those shoes on, convinced that their reality was my own. Like, I would take things personally to an extreme. Hey guys, it's me interrupting your podcast for a moment to personally invite you to work together. If you are a woman who has been overthinking for far too long, if you're feeling a little exhausted of your own mind and just want to have a break, I want you to take that break too. If you want to know how to stop overthinking things or the past, how to stop worrying so much and find that perfect balance between caring and taking care of you, prioritizing yourself. If you feel that your perfectionist mindset is taking the best of you, you find yourself procrastinating on the things that are good for you and really focusing on the things that are not really serving you, like worrying about what others think of you, worrying about people's judgment of yourself. If you've got weak boundaries because of your own needs of being accepted and not rejected, and if you worry about people's perception to the point that you have disconnected from your own identity, from what you like, from what you want. That underlying anxiety caused by overthinking, taking things personally, and carrying the loads of everyone's issues in your own shoulders. Hey, I'm speaking to you. I want to get you out of there, my friend. I have been you. I know what it's like to be that woman. I know what it's like to be so sensitive and caring and impacted by the things around you and wanting to keep it all in balance while not actually getting personally negatively impacted. I get it. Been there. There is a way out of this. There is a way for you to live life with healthy boundaries, have really strong, powerful relationships where you get to shine through within your power. It's possible. I do it. I am a living proof example of that. And so are my coaching clients. For the remaining of the year, 2021, I've got 4 spots available for one-on-one work. And if you're listening to this in the month of April, I have just opened a second cohort of my most powerful coaching program, group coaching program, Becoming the CEO of Your Own Life. And as always, you can join me inside Reset Your Mindset, the membership at a really low cost, all of which is available to you. All you have to do is make a decision that life that you're currently living can improve if you just make that choice. So I would love to see you. I would love to support you. I've got a variety of services. They're all in my show notes. You have all the links. Browse around, or you know what? If you actually want to talk with me for 15 minutes, you can book yourself in and we get to have a discussion about what program will suit you best. But from the bottom of my heart, I want you to know that the life of the overthinker, of the person who worries too much, who gives too much, who neglects herself too much, does not have to continue. Just because that's all you know doesn't mean you have to keep there. You know you can do better. I know you can do better. So let's work together. You've done the self-books, you've done the therapy. It's time for a change. Life coaching is for you. And I am excited, genuinely excited to help you navigate through whatever it is that you're going through. Talk to you soon. I obviously had this perfectionist mindset. If I don't succeed the first time I try something, it is a failure. I am a failure. And I walk away from what could have been so many fun experiences if I had allowed myself the opportunity to practice and learn. For example, I walk away from my first yoga class frustrated because I had been comparing myself to everybody. So the class wasn't even over and I was out because I wasn't flexible. Imagine that. I was going to go back and practice the day that I was flexible. How on earth was I going to cultivate flexibility if I didn't go to yoga and practice? I had such a little tolerance for being imperfect that I know I walked myself away from what could have been really enjoyable moments in life and fun experiences. Oh God, I took multitasking to the core. I was actually proud that I was a multitasker. You should have seen my first year in social work. I don't know how I survived it. I can tell you 2 years of that multitasking and lack of prioritizing myself and overthinking and over worrying and lingering anxiety took me to burnout. And I'm not just saying burnout that I felt a bit exhausted. I mean, burnout where I sincerely was fearful for my mental health. I didn't know my mind could come back from that black hole that I saw it at. I had complete inability to function, not just at work, just to order coffee at the Starbucks. And if they got my order black, I take black coffee, but my order wrong, that event will feel so stressful I couldn't handle it. That's the level of burnout I got to have and experience. Terrifying. I don't wish that upon anybody. I was working overtime nonstop. Like I had a laptop, that's all I needed. I'll come home, I'll keep working. I had found so many reasons as to why I couldn't just set clear boundaries with my work. All of that to say, my friends, a burnout later, a divorce, my marriage ended. Um, an incredible sense of unhappiness and dissatisfaction with my life overall. I was ready to quit social work, to not be a therapist anymore. In fact, I didn't want to use my brain ever again. I wanted to find a job where I was researching jobs in which you need to use your brain. That was my level of exhaustion. I had daily anxiety with panic attacks. Can you see the picture now? That was me. And although that's a long time ago, it feels so real when I still talk about it. I remember how lost and broken I felt. You guys, all as a result of not prioritizing myself. The thing I never realized about not prioritizing myself, one is the cost, what it was going to cost me, especially being such a hypersensitive human. I was going to feel that neglect far more than any other person. And I did. What I didn't realize is that this feeling that I had of being needy and just putting so much on other people was actually true. Why? Because I was constantly putting expectations on them to take care of my needs, for my husband to make me happy, for my doctor to make me healthy and get rid of my anxiety, for my parents to make me feel complete and like nothing was going to be ever wrong with me. I had I had become heavy on everybody around me because I didn't take responsibility of my own well-being. Now, if you don't think that's you, amazing. But I do want you to think of people in your life who feel heavy. That could be a friend or a coworker, somebody who maybe just comes and dumps on you their issues and wants nothing to do with a solution. Somebody who might be a bit needy and heavy to be around. And then ask yourself, are they taking care of themselves? No, they just keep walking around earth hoping for somebody to take care of them. So I'm just going to come to work and I'm going to dump on you why I hate my supervisor and just keep walking. And then over here, I'm going to dump on you why my marriage isn't working. And over here, I'm going to come and dump on you why I'm so unhappy at my job. Those people who have not taken full responsibility of their life, I love working with you. So if that's you, come over here. I can turn that around with my own personal experience. I have so much compassion for you. I know what it's like to be so helpful that people find you too much. I know what it's like to, all the things that I just explained to you. So, how to not take things personally? Why do we have a hard time saying no? It all comes back to this lack of boundaries and lack of prioritizing ourselves. When we step into being the master of our own destiny, and we realize I have all power in my hands to change my circumstances, to take care of myself, to make myself happy. The day that you realize that only you can truly make yourself happy, confident, peaceful, driven, motivated, all the things that you dream and want for yourself, that is you, not anybody else. The day you collect your power from all these places you're left it at, that day you become so powerful that saying no is easy, that setting up clear boundaries with work, it's a no-brainer, that not caring about what others think, it's, I don't know, like just what you do. You don't even think about it, it happens. Not taking things personally, yeah, you might need reminders here and there, but overall you're just walking life knowing what belongs to you and not taking what doesn't belong to you. I don't want to brag, but that is who I've become. I thankfully enjoy a really healthy, happy marriage. Not perfect, very imperfect. And that doesn't make me doubtful. Imagine I've got the confidence to say my marriage is very imperfect and we can work through this. And that's okay. It doesn't take away my value or his or our value. I have the healthiest relationship I could possibly have with my work. Work, by the way, that took a lot of courage to jump into. I left my safe, secure job, well-paying job, to adventure into entrepreneurship, not knowing exactly how I was going to go. And I have never enjoyed showing up for work more than I do now, and having the healthiest of relationships with work. My days are very clear. I know when I shut down my computer, I'm out. I also have a sense of confidence that doesn't get shaken away by people saying or doing things that would otherwise have shaken me big time. How did I get there? It didn't happen overnight. I just told you all the lessons I learned, all the painful moments in my life I had to experience for me to finally sit down in a room with myself, talk to the universe, talk to God, talk to my higher self and say, what is it that I'm not seeing? Why do I feel like I hit the same wall time after time after time? Self love. Prioritizing myself isn't about becoming selfish. It's the responsible thing to do. It is an act of love, and it's not just any act of love. It is by far the most important, empowering act of love that I have ever taken towards myself. It is true. All things can happen when we make a decision to care enough about putting our needs first. Over all these years, I've been working with women from all walks. I always notice their confidence is low, their self esteem is low, their ability to set clear boundaries is low, because deep inside of themselves, they haven't yet practiced what it's like to prioritize themselves. They are afraid of prioritizing themselves, not knowing the freedom, the beauty, the better relationship and connections that you actually get to experience once you prioritize yourself. So when you're thinking, why am I having a hard time with boundaries? Why do I take things personally? Why do I compare myself to others? Think no more. The answer comes down to you have not prioritized yourself. So there you are, searching for who's got what you want that you don't have. There you are, overthinking and looking for reassurance from the outside world, because please, somebody tell me I am enough. Say it with me. I am enough. I am the master of my destiny. I am on a path of being successful. I appreciate who I am. If you have a tendency to put everyone's needs ahead of your own because you think that you will become selfish otherwise, please challenge that. Challenge the source from which you got that information. If you are resenting those around you after agreeing to doing things that you didn't really want to do in the first place, why did you betray yourself? Come back to being authentic, touching base with you and honoring you, what's inside of you, that voice that said no. Listen to that voice, honor that voice. If you describe yourself as a fixer, I just fix people, I fix things. Come back to your ability of healing and being a healer instead. Not everything that hurts is broken. Not everything needs fixing. Some things do. Most things just need healing. And healing needs time, cannot be rushed. It's not a timeline. If you're still spending much of your life comparing yourself to others, asking yourself, why can't I be like them? They make it look so easy. I invite you to notice in which ways that person is prioritizing themselves. I also invite you to think of the people around you who do prioritize themselves and notice your judgment towards them. That's a problem. If you cannot begin to see how that's amazing and aspire to learn from them, to prioritize yourself, you still have a problem. If you still feel like you're tiptoeing around people and you're terrified of bringing conflict or raising your voice or having confrontation, does that serve you? Do you keep a belief in your mind that tells you speaking your mind equals conflict, conflict equals rejection? What other thoughts will be available for you? What other beliefs will be available for you so that you can speak your mind? That was a huge lesson for me. I realized that the conflict I thought I would create by speaking my mind was nothing compared to the conflict I created by not speaking my mind. Ever since I speak my mind, I believe this is why my relationships are thriving in every area of my life, because I no longer just keep things in. So if you're listening to this and thinking, yes, yes, all of that and more, I want to invite you to work with me. Let's dive into bringing you the courage to prioritize yourself. It's far easier to get rid of the limiting beliefs that hold you and back hold you from actually setting clear boundaries, from prioritizing yourself. It's far easier to do it with somebody who can help you through that, who can normalize things for you, who can give you fresh perspectives and keep you accountable, than it is to do it by yourself. Let my experience help you collapse time, help you prevent heartaches. Honestly, my main motivation to work with women, and not just any woman, the woman who thinks too much, who does too much, who neglects herself too much, is so that you don't get to experience what I lived through. It didn't have to be that way. I was too young to notice it. I needed to go through it and learn those lessons. And thanks to those lessons, I can coach you today on those things. So if this inspires you to take some inspired action on your own life, reach out. Let's work together. I will absolutely love to help you through this. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you guys next Monday.